G'day. What we're going to do today is to have a look at one of the science and technology tutorials. This one is about flight, and we will be making a couple of things that fly, some artefacts as we call them. The process of construction that I'll demonstrate shortly requires the students to collaborate and to solve problems. The testing of those artefacts requires a structured investigation which involves data recording, interpretation of that data and communication of those findings. These are the processes that we're asking our students to learn so that they can use those with their future students. The example of the activities and the way we run this in a very practical way is an opportunity for these students to think about how they would work with their future students. It's an opportunity for my students to think about their pedagogical practices and how they're going to organise such activities in their classroom. So, the first artefact, it's a glider. We're going to make a glider. The problem that's inherent in the design of this glider is that the piece of paper that we've got is not quite long enough to make the glider as is specified in the sheet. What it says is that the loop at the back of the glider should be 10 centimetres in diameter. Now, what the students have to work out is how long does the piece of paper have to be to create a loop like this of 10 centimetres. And the trick is that it comes from the formula of 2 pi r. That's the circumference of a circle. Now r is, in this case, 5. 2 pi r is 10 times pi. Pi is 3.14. So that means that the piece of paper needs to be 31.4 centimetres long. And if you measure a piece of A4 paper, you can see that it's not long enough. After a little while, they soon discover that if they just take one piece of paper and use a diagonal, then they've got enough space to do their one long line, which will allow for a length of 31.4. So, starting from the 0 mark, move to 30, then move up 1.4 to add, so we have a line that's now long enough. Put an end there, put an end there. This piece of paper needs to be approximately 1 centimetre wide. There we have it, a piece of paper that we need in order to make this glider. So I'll cut it out now. Using a piece of tape, join those ends together where the marks cross. Okay. Now that loop is then stuck on to one end of a straw. Somewhat tricky thing to do. And then the next job is to make another loop on the front that's half that diameter. Now, pretty soon they work out that that means that it's 15.6, close enough. .7, probably more precise. And cut that out and join it on. Okay, we're going to leave that. That's something that the students can complete. What I really want to show you now is the next device. It's far more exciting. The next device is a hot air balloon. To make the hot air balloon, we need tape and we need garbage bags. We need to have 4 garbage bags that we can then open out to be 4 sides of a balloon. So first of all, pull off the garbage bag and cut the end where the bag's sealed. Like so. Now we find one end, one edge of the bag. We have a tube now, but we want to open this out to one big piece of plastic. There's an edge. Take the scissors again, run them down the edge, and here comes our piece of plastic. Now, that's one side of our balloon. To get that ready, we fold this in half along its long side. Make it nice and smooth, flatten it down. Now we need to do that with 3 other bags. Magically, we've got 4 of these done now. So what we now do is make sure that the folded edge is aligned, one on top of the other. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, starting from the fold side, we need to draw a shape that gives us the rounded profile of the balloon, what will eventually be a balloon. So, here's a texture, and essentially 45 degrees on this corner, then a curve, and then straight down to somewhere between a half or a third on the lower side down there. Here we go, here's my 45 degrees, curve it round, bring it down to there. So having done that, you can now cut this. So it's helpful if you can get an assistant to hold the other end of the plastic bags whilst you cut. This puts some tension on the bags and allows them to be cut easily. So if you could hold both top and bottom, that'd be great. I can start here and cut all 4 bags at the same time, which of course helps give them all that same profile. Looks like I've missed some there, so we'll have to come back for those. Bottom bag, so let's start that again. Leaving the bags where they are so you can cut along the same line. There we go. Okay, so now this waste can be used for craft activities, so don't throw it away. So what we now have then is 4 quarters of our balloon. One of these over there, 2 of these over there, that makes half. The next task then is to open these up and to tape one to the other. There's one. Here's the next one. The way you do this is you put them one on top of the other, but then you move the top one slightly back so that an edge of about 1 centimetre wide is exposed on the bag underneath. Let's get them nice and flat. Expose an edge there. If you have to expose a bit more, that's okay. Just it's important to make sure that there is 1 bag, 2 bag, 1 bag, 2 bag, first bag, second bag, so that it can all be seen. Tape out of here and start at a corner. Hold that down, making sure you get both edges. When you come to a curve, stop and turn the tape. You often have to do that in little bits. Later on, if we've got any holes in the balloon, these can be repaired. While you're going round, it's important just to make sure you've got 2 edges there and the tape is overlapping. There we go. So, having done one of those, you then do another one. So we'll pause again whilst we do the second one. Okay, back again, and magically we've got 2 pairs of the sides of the balloon. And so what we now have to do, of course, is to join those 2 pairs together. So here's one that's been taped on that side, and here's another that's been taped on that side. So what we do is we open them both up. And join opposite edges. And it's the same process. We have one laid flat, and then we lay the other one on the top. The trick here is to align them as closely as you can. Now, normally there would be 3 or 4 people in this group, and they would all be able to help to hold the bags in the right position while one person does the taping. So we might have my assistant come in and do that again. If you could hold that point there for me, and then start to join these together. Making sure there's a bit of an overlap there. So cut see them. Yep, yes, we can see the one on the bottom. There's the one on the bottom there, about to disappear. There it is. Come down the side. Here's the bottom one. There's the edge. There's the edge there. Okay, now that edge being done, what we'll now do is turn it all over and of course do the other edge too. So we might stop it there while we do that. Okay, so we're back again. We've joined all four sides together, and what we now need to do is to make sure that the bottom is kept open. And we do that by simply taping in a round of cane. And once that's all done, then the balloon will allow hot air to come in, and it's needed to keep the bottom of the balloon separate because the hot air can actually melt plastic that is this fine. Okay, let's stop there. You use the tape. So what we're doing is taking the cane and just taping it in. Just whack it down there. And so it goes. So now we have a hot air balloon ready to be inflated using a hairdryer or a paint stripper, and that gives us lots of opportunities for data collection. For example, how high does the balloon fly? How long does it hang in the air with the hot air keeping it up? And whatever other variables the students can identify. Shortly, we'll see this happening. Thanks for watching.